Hey, welcome back to the Comfort Vlog Travel Edition. Instead of cooking in my kitchen today, I'm gonna take you guys along one of the best solo trips I've been to a small town in Belgium called Bruges. To every solo trip I go to, I always bring back a notebook full of memories. And this was my notebook from my 2023 Belgium trip. It looks like as soon as I landed in Belgium, I had a Belgian waffle Benedict in Brussels. Then I hopped on the train to Bruges. It took about an hour and I was on the second floor of a double-decker train that was pretty empty. Then, from the train station in Bruges, I took the bus to my bed and breakfast. I think there's nothing like the butterflies that I feel as I'm just arriving into a new city and checking into my room. Here's a little tour of the room I'll be staying in today. It's super spacious and clean, and the highlight is the enormous bathroom with a tub looking out to the garden. Shortly after I checked in, as I always do in a new city, I went out to a free walking tour. In my notebook, I wrote, "Our guide was a wonderful, passionate Belgian woman." I'm so glad I showed up to the tour. It was 2 hours, but it was such a good way to know a bit more about the history and architecture of Bruges. This is what I do when I'm traveling solo, without much of a plan. I save the places I want to go back to during the walking tour, like this Belgian chocolate store that had the most amazing truffles, and those places basically become my itinerary. If you're a loose planner like I am, this is a great way to plan your whole trip as soon as you arrive. At 6:30 p.m., I got to Mozart. The meal started off with an appetizer. At 7:19, I said, "Not sure what else is inside this shrimp croquette other than shrimp, but inside is way too mushy for me. I do appreciate the crispy fried parsley florets." The ribs, on the other hand, was delicious, just how I remember it 5 years ago, or maybe better. Their signature sauce is just the right amount of savory, tangy, and delicious, and so was the baked potato with curry compound butter, to die for. I really enjoyed myself. Mozart has an all-you-can-eat option, which is a great deal even if you just get one serving because it's a large serving. And I really thought I'd be eating 2 plates because I was starving, but I was absolutely stuffed after just one. The waiter was definitely disappointed that I was done, but I couldn't eat anything more. On the way back, I passed by a cute storefront, so I sat across from it to sketch it out. And while I was walking around and soaking in the streets, this is when I started to feel a gentle message from within. Sometimes, even in a place so far from home, I run into the same familiar feeling. When I listen carefully, I can hear the words, "There is something very special waiting for you." I almost didn't go on this trip at all because I was hesitant about my finances, the time I had to take off work, and I was anxious even until the last minute before I left. But isn't it a funny feeling? It felt like this small town was waiting for me this whole time, for me to come and discover it like an unopened box of gifts. I felt very similarly back in Yufui in Japan, in Lisbon, Portugal, and even in some unexpected places I ended up living in. And that's when my heart started to beat with the anticipation to experience what was in store for me. At 9:01, around sunset, I wrote, "This is a very particular but awfully familiar happiness." went to the pharmacy earlier to pick up some necessities, and I picked up some extra stuff. And I was surprised because a lot of the products at the Belgian pharmacy was a little bit more expensive than what I'm used to. I went to go get some pads and a facial cleanser. So this is some SPF by Avene. I love this brand. Very good for sensitive skin. Some hand cream. Honestly, I got this to use it also for my body as well, because I feel like hand cream is always like extra moisturizing, and you can really use it on other parts of your body too, especially if you have dry skin. I got a bath bomb to take a bath. Soap, so I got this soap. Okay. First I'm gonna take up my contacts. I was excited to travel with this, so get rid of all the impurity. I'm scared. It's all our foaming cleanser. The next morning, I made a game plan for day 2. From the list of everything I wanted to do, I narrowed it down to getting coffee and lunch, going on a boat tour, renting a bike, and biking around. I don't remember the weather too well, but it looks like June 25th, 2023 was a very hot day in Belgium. Shortly after, I wrote, "This morning on my way to unsuccessfully get some coffee, there was a small band walking down the shopping street, playing live music. I don't know why, but I cried a little bit. I am so happy to be here." Then I walked into many of the touristy Belgian waffle places, only to be a little bit disappointed. I haven't found a waffle I love here. The one at the cafe near my parents' home is actually so good that this one tasted a little bit overcooked. But I'm on a quest. The boat tour was so much fun. It's so hot today though, I was sweating so much. And Bruges is so beautiful. I think it's better because it's not as crowded here. Someone on the boat said, "This is better than Venice. We should have come here sooner." This made me glad that I came here, out of all places.
Fondé au XIIIe siècle. Il n'y a plus de béguines depuis 1900. We krijgen dan een mooi zicht op het Belfort, een toren van 83 meter hoog. Een grote markt.
The flea market was great. So many vintage pieces, and I wish I could bring a lot of these back, but I know that I had to find something more compact. Something that will evoke memories of Bruges without the weight, the volume, or the dust. And I found something perfect. A pack of old stamps. I can't believe people peeled off stamps from old mail to sell them. There was a small flea market on the street, and I went back to get cash so that I could buy these. And obviously some gelato to cool down. I went back to my room to lay down and take a short nap. 6:12 p.m. I rented a bike. I should have this morning because it's actually so nice to bike in the heat, because of the breeze. The breeze is amazing in Bruges. Nice, cool, and dry. I biked all the way to the edge of Bruges to a park called Beginvest. It's unbelievably beautiful here. Once I found a good spot to park my bike, I laid my picnic blanket down on the grass and laid down to rest. There's a couple near me discussing time. They're talking about whether the present is simply a transition from the past and future, merely a bridge of the two, and so infinitely small that it barely exists. So does it exist at all? Perhaps that's why it's difficult to be present. It's simply too tiny of a moment to catch. Later on, I read in a book that no one can be present when they're thinking about trying to be present. Instead, you're present in the moment when you're not thinking at all. When you see, feel, smell what's in front of you, that's when you're in the moment. This was the most beautiful scene of my trip in Bruges. And maybe because I recorded it while I was soaking it in, I like to believe that somewhere in the corner of the universe, this scene is looping endlessly, where a tiny version of me is sitting on the bench, soaking it all in. I remember so vividly the green, the breeze, the sounds, the sweat on my forehead, the water and the swans, all tied together in this image of me sitting on the bench. I biked my way over to a place I saved during my walking tour, a place called Prinselijk Begijnhof den Wijngaard. From what I've heard, this is like a monastery where religious women gather to live in. There was a beautiful courtyard with trees, where I found a random hammock right in the middle for passerbys to lay inside. It was quite a lovely gesture for a traveler like me. For dinner, I had mou frites, mussels and fries, which is a quintessential Belgian dish. The chef's mussels had tomato and celery with a creamy white wine sauce. I loved it so much. There was a lovely Singaporean couple next to me who also had the same thing. And I finally found the best Belgian Liege waffles. It was this adorable takeaway shop called Café Lawrence, which was the only place that also had iced coffee, by the way, and they had such an adorable decor inside with waffles with googly eyes. The waffle I got was fresh, perfectly cooked, flaky, sugary, gooey, hot, and chewy. I'll definitely be back here again before I leave. In the evening, my battery ran out, so I don't have more footage, which might have been the perfect way to end the first day in Bruges. I sat on the hill and sketched these houses until the sun set. I hope you guys enjoyed the Comfort Vlog Travel Edition. As much as this trip has been a breath of fresh air from my everyday life, I hope it inspired you as well. Let me know how you like this compared to the cooking vlogs. These type of vlogs take quite some time to edit for me, and I put many hours into this, so I'll eventually edit the rest of my Bruges trip in the near future, which, believe it or not, only got better and better as the days went by. It was truly an unforgettable trip, and I feel very special to be sharing this with you in this way. What was a trip that felt like a very special gift to you? Based on my travel style, where would you recommend me to go? Let me know in the comments.